Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the SoFi Weekly. Although, be it maybe not a lot of SoFi news, maybe Tevis has one or 2 points that he wants to hit on, but I'm interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on some meme stock trades. Do you guys think that this is already over? You think this is coming back? I mean, where do you guys want to start?
As long as did any of you other guys see the Roaring Kitty live cast or anything?
So what was the peak viewership? I was trying to track it a little bit, but I think I saw it at 654,000, something like that.
Yeah, around that.
Yep. We all saw it, and it was one of those must-view type things, whether you're in GameStop or not. And it was I had some comments when I posted a little bit about it. People are like, it was very cringe and awkward, and I'm like, have you seen any of his old streams? Because that's who he was. So, like, you may just know him from like the recent movie that was redone and remade and everything, but it's like he's an awkward guy. But nothing meaningful there. He laid out the thesis of like Ryan Cohen is able to pivot this company, and he still believes in that. And 3 years is not too long, maybe 5 to 10 years. And if they start selling pet rocks, then he's out.
Sure.
And me, I would not place money against GameStop just because of the meme, but I would, if it wasn't for the meme stuff, I don't do bets like this, but I'd be tempted at least to bet heavily against that. I think 3 years with what they've shown is very minimal. I know most people that are in this are not there for the fundamentals at all, which is fine. You can do that if you'd like. And there's money to be made either way. I'm not really a trader. When I trade those amounts, it's maybe a few $100. So I'm not risking the bank ever at all. So there was that one exception back in 2021. And when you hit one of those, you're like, okay, I'm not going to push it. That's all that I need. So, but yeah, no, I don't think that I think as long as he continues to make different appearances, it'll have less of an impact, if he does it too often. But I think it's kind of here to stay. Hopefully, even though SoFi is not a meme stock, I hope that at least some of that pushes a few of the shorts out.
So
we'll see.
It's here to stay, meaning like a meme stock frenzy going up and down, or you mean like not bankrupt and still around?
Meme stocks will sell off, and then something will happen. He'll tweet something or what have you, and then they'll pop up, and then they'll just do this again for a little bit. Not to the strength when everybody had free money that they could just throw in there, but I think it's going to keep happening for a while, unless we enter a bear market or a big recession. Then nobody has any money, so it won't.
I think it's funny. I saw. He's a longtime viewer, so I'll shout him out. But Not a Lurker is, I think, a GameStop holder. He's pretty positive on the stock, but not just as a trade. He believes that the company is going to make a return. I think the idea that you can bet on SoFi kind of replacing branch banking and then have the sort of opposite view that Amazon and, cloud computing and all this is not going to replace the essentially branches of buying video games is sort of counterintuitive. I definitely would bet against the success of GameStop if it wasn't for the countless dollars that are already doing so, which kind of makes it, an unfavorable trade. It's more a bet on if Keith Gill is going to pump this stock, and greater fool theory is going to have someone purchase the stock from you at a higher value than what you did. Go to a casino. Seriously. Tevis, you bought some shares of GameStop today. What's up, dude?
Speaking of going to a casino, I don't know. I wanted to gamble some money, so I bought some shares, and I watched the thing, and it was interesting. The amount of disclaimers that this guy made. Clearly, he is. He was being coy about it, but clearly he's like has some heavy scrutiny. But I also think he opened the door, like he reserved the right to, like he said this a million times, I reserve the right to change my mind. And I'm like, oh, I know what that means. I reserve the right to dump my shares on all you guys if the price is right. I get that. That's fair, but it wasn't like the old GameStop videos where he was like, hey, this is my thesis, GameStop to the moon, all of this stuff. Now it was like, oh, I still believe the fundamental thesis, which I thought was bullshit because like it's a $10 billion company. They have what, 1.2 billion in cash, something like that. And magically they're going to reinvent their entire business model.
They earned a lot more. They have a lot more cash now because they dumped on shareholders. So I think it's 3 billion now.
My point being that like,
how big was the offering today? I saw something
yesterday, right?
Not was today. It yesterday? Okay.
Was it? I'd have to look.
Again. I thought it was 750,000 shares, something like that.
Yes.
Literally, B-Dubs and I in the chat yesterday were talking about how if GameStop was smart, then they would do an equity offering soon and take advantage of essentially the title of the movie, Dumb Money, and just take advantage of it. And they then pulled that trigger literally the next day after the live stream.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. But the point being is, I don't know. It was really cool to see because he had 600,000 people watching live, like especially because he started like
super cool.
40 or 30 minutes late, and like 400,000 people waited around. But aside from that, like I don't trust that he's going to be like, first in, last out. He's going to be trading in and out of that position.
Was it 70 million shares?
75 and then 30 today. So a little over 100 million shares. Back-to-back days. 725.
This is not the actual Roaring Kitty, but yeah. It's funny. See, the thing is that whenever I say like dumb money or something like this, I actually think that the trade or like the movement is cool. I think that what Roaring Kitty is doing is definitely smart. He is most likely going to make money. The problem is that he's like the mother duck, okay? And it's hard to predict where he's going to go, and he's always going to have first mover's advantage. And after he moves that quantity, everyone else is holding his bags.
Dude, he showed his portfolio live and that he was still holding. And he's like, oh, yeah, here's what I have in shares. Here's what I have in calls. He's like, I have just a little bit of cash in the portfolio. And I looked and it's like 29 million. He's like, oh, just a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
And it's just insane. His position sizing.
That's a trader dream, though. I mean, congratulations to him.
Absolutely.
Tanner's got a Roaring Kitty at home. I hope that's more like the McDonald's joke and not like some sexual joke. What else? Oh, so B-Dub said after I said that it was kind of like betting on branch banking and that it's dumb money and everything. He said, or greater fool theory. He said kind of like crypto. No, B-Dubs, drop it. Okay, I'm gonna make you buy a Bitcoin soon. Okay, the idea is that is essentially the smarter technology. We're not going backwards with crypto. Technology has never taken a back step. GameStop is a back step.
Speaking of Solana,
PayPal.
Go ahead, Tevis, and then we'll go on to some PayPal.
We'll get to PayPal. I bought some GameStop just like with like leftover money that I had in the account. I think it was like $1,000 Canadian. Something like that.
No. Be honest with everyone. You lost money on a trade, so then you said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to increase the speculation on my bets to try to win it back, and then you freaking lost that too.
I made money on Boston last night, or 2 nights ago, whenever the game was with the Mavericks.
I thought you said you lost.
What do you mean?
I thought you lost lost a bet, so then you put it into GameStop.
No. I made money with Boston.
Oh, okay.
I didn't pull that money out of my DraftKings. I just put more. So I guess it's like it's not like technically the DraftKings money, but because I'm gonna bet on the game on Sunday, because I'm a degen. But anyway, so I put the money into GameStop, and then it fell to like 28, 27. I was like, I should buy some more. So it's kind of addictive, but I'm gonna limit it myself to just that amount that I put in.
I think that it's super okay to gamble. Like, if you're a willing and able person and you know that you're able to lose that money, like, I've got no qualms with anyone buying GameStop. I think the idea that people look at someone with $500 million throwing at this stock and money that, like, just unfathomable wealth is almost feeling like, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. And it just, I don't know. It's like, you most likely can't do it. He's obviously doing something very special. And yeah, I don't know.
The thing that I really like about gambling is that it just makes things more fun to watch, because you have a vested interest in an outcome. And it's the same, like I put money on the UFC last weekend and basketball and all these, because otherwise I just wouldn't watch it because I'm like, I don't care. I don't really,
Sure.
but if I have, even if it is like, $5 on a game, I'll watch it and I'll see if it comes out. And that's like the fun part. And so it's the same thing with this. Like I was looking, it's so topical, it's in the news. And now that it's coming back after, 2020, 2021, where I was like, you know what? I just want to put some money on GameStop just so I can follow it more closely and just be invested. Not invested in the sense of like, I'm invested for the long term. I'm just invested in the news story.
Yeah, if it's not a lot of money, it's fine.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think Jason Calacanis had floated the idea of you should be able to trade anything if you do like a competency test or whatever. I forget I'm not saying it right. Competency test. And I think that is sort of kind of needed here. I think it's almost too easy to set up a Robinhood account and put way too much money into it. And another thing too, what's weird, Peter Lynch used to talk about the psychology of investing versus gambling, where people will go to a casino and they'll bring $200. But if they go to invest it, they'll bring 20 grand, right? And they'll hear a bus tip and go, okay, well, I'm going to YOLO 20 grand into this stock and I'm going to potentially get rich and stuff like this. But then essentially you would have put so much more research into your vacation, a couch that you're going to buy, a contractor that's going to come paint your house. And yet those are such smaller investments, such smaller amounts of capital. And yet people will lose it much faster in stock markets. That's the only thing. I think that there is some psychological component to it. But
so speaking of that, like the most, and I was like laughing about this, to myself earlier today, the most effed up thing, like from a psychological perspective, is the compartmentalization of my rationality. Because on the dividend portfolio, I'm like, look, guys, all of these dividends, I'm making like $500 every 2 months. And meanwhile, I put like $800 into GameStop just as a YOLO play. It's just, it doesn't equate. It doesn't make sense.
exactly.
But in my mind, it makes sense because I put them in like different buckets. But money's money at the end of the day. If I had such a disciplined approach where I'm like, this is my strategy, I'm never going to stray from it, and I'm just going to keep doing it, at some point, I kind of just want to, do something off the beaten path, and that's fine. Works for me.
I've been telling Tevis to upgrade his mic. I'm like, you got to get this mic. It's like $400. He's like, man, I'm not spending that kind of money on a mic.
This one's good. Roaring Kitty actually uses my same mic, so the HyperX, the quad.
Yeah. Used by millionaires all over the world, Roy.
That's right. Millionaires like, wait, no, I'm not quite there yet.
PayPal, Roy, take us off.
So yeah, you mentioned Solana. I don't know when that news came out. It may have come out late last week, I believe. But
I think so.
yeah, the stablecoin itself, it's now able to be used on Solana, which is faster. I don't like it because it's heavily centralized, but it makes sense for a stablecoin. So I love that they're doing that. It's scaling. But the biggest piece, and I think what actually started the stock moving, this is how markets work. Quarter one results, they absolutely killed it. We've already talked about that. I won't rehash it, but just phenomenal results. And here Alex Chris comes to a conference and he mentions, he's asked a number of things. And it was probably, one of the least interesting. It was interesting, I guess, in one respect, but it was one of the least interesting comments that he made was that they were ahead of guidance in quarter two. And I was like, hey, cool. We'll get probably a little bit of bump. But I mean, the guidance is so conservative. If you don't think that they're ahead, I don't know what's wrong with you. But hey, you do you. So the stock started rallying and it pushed up. It had its largest day in over a year. Largest day for a long, long time. They did have earnings, I think, quarter one and quarter two last year. Initial pump was a little bit higher, but and that was yesterday. Continued a little bit today, although the market kind of fell apart towards the end of the day. And it's not really. I mean, he had some other comments that were interesting. They mentioned that the speed of implementation for like PayPal Complete Payments and other platforms went from 2 weeks under the previous administration with Dan Schulman to 2 hours. It's like, this is not the same freaking company. And it bugs me to no end when people are like, oh yeah, PayPal's banning people's accounts left and right and telling people, how to do this or that with their money. And all these things that are back like in 2022, 2021.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, there's, I think, 2 guys in the C-suite that are the same. And all the rest, there's like 19 others. They've reorganized the whole thing. And then I think the other piece too that was maybe late last week, and we didn't talk about it, was Tanner and I talked about it though, was bringing in Mark Rather from Uber. And he's there to scale this advertising business that PayPal is launching. They have over 400 million users, 30 million merchants, double-sided data network. He was able to do this with Uber. They went from nothing to this year. They're looking at about $1 billion in revenue, and it's high margin, which is really good for PayPal. There's no guarantees, for PayPal, but the way that they're doing it, I won't go into the nuances. I've done plenty of posts. We've talked about it before, Tanner and I. But between that and then the Fastlane product, ran some calculations, used Dan Bilow's numbers, used Uber numbers, and did a what if. I think that these 3 products, because there's 2 in the advertising and 1 in the fast lane, will provide about an 18% revenue, net revenue lift. Transaction dollars, that's the term. Because Dolev used that. I was just like apples to apples, which is significant. And I think that would be there by 2025. So, but the stock didn't move when I posted that. It's like, hey, whatever. But Alex Chris mentions this and it flies up because people are like, oh yeah, PayPal is not dead. So it's the same thing. We didn't talk too much about Sofi tonight, but I think it'll be the same thing. They're executing. And one day the market will wake up and be like, oh yeah, Sofi exists. Let's add 30% over this next month.
Yeah, it's just a matter of them hopefully continuously executing. I spoke with Tevis just really quickly about Sofi. He put out a video about the product rollout speeds. Did you see that, Roy?
I did not, no.
No, that's fine. But it is interesting. And it makes me, want more from them in terms of, communicating with us and letting us know more. And it's seemingly like that is a big priority for PayPal right now of like, hey, we weren't really on the ball with innovation. Why don't we change that? Why don't we try to roll out things and keep people up to date on everything that we're doing? That way you can kind of get a better feel for guidances, right? It's hard to put guides on Sofi if you don't know what they're up to.
And doing what they're doing is incredibly difficult. Like usually when a company says transitional year, it means that they're not going to do anything at all. Like they'll be doing things internally, but you're not going to see the actual results. We're seeing the actual results for PayPal and they're transforming the company. Like that's almost unheard of. I still stand by and think that Alex Chris will prove himself as one of the most effective CEOs. Maybe not one of the Mag 7 level or anything, but he is an executor. It's relentless. And of course, next week, PayPal has another conference with Jamie Miller. Don't know where the stock price is going, but it's got some attention and some eyes on it for sure. So I'm buying more.
Did you guys hear about the acquisition from Robinhood of Bitstamp? No?
Yeah.
Tevis is thinking, he's like, where have I heard that name before?
Bitstamp sounds familiar.
Bitstamp would sound familiar to a Bitcoin freak like you.
Degen gamblers, all of them, and us.
They are the still longest standing crypto exchange globally, starting back in 2011, which is pretty freaking old. I think I looked it up on CoinMarketCap. They're about the 16th largest exchange, which once you get past the top 10, it gets really small from there.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the biggest name in the world. What they do have is 50 active licenses and registrations, institutional clientele that they sell, an advanced trading platform to, and give them, a spot market to trade 85 or it was hard. Robinhood said 85 assets. And then I looked on Bitstamp's website and they said they sell 102 assets. Anyway, it's all very small names once you get down there. So I'll just say 85. But then Robinhood said, we're going to acquire this company. They operate in US, UK, Europe, and Asia. And we're going to bring this to Robinhood clients. We're going to bring over their solutions for earning through crypto lending, crypto staking, a bunch of different things. I don't have any things up right now. Here, let me see if I can bring something up. But very interesting acquisition, only $200 million.
Yeah, this is a typical Robinhood acquisition. So they do small acquisitions and they integrate them well. They did, of course, the most prominent one last year was the X1 credit card platform, which is what they're launching the gold credit cards on. They acquired Charter, I believe, which they integrate Say Technologies as well before that, which they'll actually get a pretty massive Q2 revenue bump. They do every year because of the proxy stuff that they do. They handle acquisitions in fintech space just about as good as anybody, honestly. And I like that they're not overspending. Now, if they were just buying this platform for the crypto revenues itself, that would not be very exciting. Like looking at market cap, yeah, it looks okay. You look at actual trading volumes, it's 200 something million, which is great. But I mean, Robinhood doesn't get a lot from that. And it's like 86 or something in the world. It's very, very small compared to a lot of the major platforms. And it could easily fall down further or go up. But, with the regulations, I think is certainly something that interests them. And then they specifically mentioned in the press release, the institution side of it. That's not something that Robinhood really has much of anything at. They've just actually launched a crypto API platform. And then the APIs are also a strength of this company. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. It's 200 million, which, I mean, that's not nothing, but they have $5 billion in cash. So
over the last little bit, they've acquired X1, $100 million. They said that they're going to bump sales and marketing by $100 million. They, agreed to a $1 billion buyback program over the next 2 years, starting in Q3, and have acquired Bitstamp, its own crypto exchange, by the way. They acquired a company called Cove Markets back in 2021, which was essentially a smart order routing tool, which would go to a bunch of different exchanges and say, all right, we're going to find out which one is offering the best price and then route through them. And that was great. But now, if you own the actual exchange, I'm pretty sure pricing is going to get a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm pretty excited to see how this is all going to unfold. I think that Robinhood is not even a sneaky play. Like, I think it's right out in front. But everything that's going on with Roaring Kitty, GameStop, everything like this, crypto blowing up,
Yes.
It's all to benefit, like, for real at Robinhood. All the fluctuations in GameStop are fugazi unless they actually do equity offerings, and then that hurts the shareholder. The real benefit is Robinhood and the actual brokerages.
And higher for longer. Higher for longer is really good for Robinhood because they have $5 billion in cash that's collecting interest, and then they also have the cash sweeps that they'll get the same percent even if those are cut, but there will be less cash on their platform as a result. So go ahead, Tevis.
Let me ask you guys this, just for funsies. You have 0 positions in all of these stocks. You are going to put money down. You have to pick one of them. The time frame is 5 years. Robinhood, New, PayPal, or Sofi. You can't distribute. You have to pick
Sofi.
one.
Pick one.
Sofi.
5 years.
Sofi. SoFi.
Hold on. Robinhood, new.
SoFi.
SoFi, or Shift 4. I'll add a fifth one.
Now he's thinking. You gotta.
I'm actually
That one is honestly the closest one on that list because I don't want to be in PayPal forever. It's a play that I don't think is generational, but happy to make money while it's undervalued. Nubank, I do think is generational, but has
Premium.
Yeah, an extended premium, but I do believe that that'll be fine over the long term.
Yeah.
But SoFi over the next 5 years, I just think is the perfect blend of undervalued. There will most likely be rate cuts between now and 5 years from now. I mean, look at me being so optimistic. And
Shift 4.
Yeah, Shift 4 is definitely not trading at a premium, and it's also going to benefit from that as well. So I kind of really like them as well. And Robinhood, I mean, they'll do well, but I'm not as certain in their success as I am in SoFi.
So I'll go through those. Nubank is close up there. Latin American play, and they're just a good, solid company. Shift 4, I still need to do some more digging and research in, so not ready to commit there yet. Robinhood, I still think, even though they're diverging from this, there is a long-term thesis. I still see them as primarily cyclical stock. So I don't want to have them at this point for 5 years, even though they're killing it in the short term. And there's credit card risk too. But so it's really between SoFi and PayPal for me, and it's very close. I would say SoFi, but if PayPal does another quarter one, so the quarter two looks like quarter one, I would have to say PayPal, honestly. With what they're bringing to the table and what they're actually able to do as far as buybacks, as far as free cash flow, it's still going with very, very close. But it just, yeah, I really like Alex Chris and what he's doing over there. But, I agree. Like longer than 5, it's tough with PayPal because on the short term, yeah, over the next 3 years, very, very good. 4th and 5th year is harder to see because everything that they should have implemented everything that they have, except for possibly the stable coin. We'll see how that goes. And so it's like, well, what's next? I don't know, but yeah, that's where I'm at. SoFi, but it's very close with PayPal.
Roy, I got a better one for you. So, would you rather invest in Palantir for the next 10 years?
Yep.
Okay. Or I forget what the number was. I think it was 5 years, 10 years. I forget what your length of investment was. Or
let's say 5.
5. Okay. Or you get to live 5 years longer at your current health and you get $1 million today. What would you pick? But you're not allowed to invest in Palantir in that life.
I mean, I would go with the extra 5 years. I would go the extra 5 years and get the $1 million. Yeah. I mean, there's other companies out there. I think Palantir is absolutely special. They had.
Can you believe what you're hearing, Tevis?
There's no single stock in the market that I would pick. It was trade for an extra 5 years of life. Are you high?
Yeah. Plus $1 million.
Dude, it's so clearly a joke. He's an ultra bull. I just pull in the Palantir chain. That's all. Obviously, anyone would pick life over.
No, I thought you were going to give me other stocks, and I'd be like, you name Palantir, so like it's done. Like there's a reason why it's 60-something% of my portfolio. There's a reason why I was glued to AIP Con. I sent you guys some of these links. Maybe we'll go into Palantir. We probably won't do Palantir in the after hours again because we just did that, but. So Tevis,
we did like an hour and something. I think it was just a little over an hour on the SoFi after hours last show. It was longer than the actual show.
That'll be fun a year from now. But anyway, Tevis, you didn't answer. So out of those stocks that you proposed, which one would you go? And it's probably going to be SoFi, but I'll give you a chance to answer.
Yeah, SoFi, just because it's like the most beat down right now, I would say. Like if
SoFi or Unity?
SoFi, dude.
Okay.
SoFi is well run. Unity is like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm not buying any more Unity at this level. Like it's so cheap, and I should be probably buying, but I want some more clarity on their direction. It's just such a freaking mess internally there right now. So we'll see what happens with them. But yeah, it's SoFi all the way, just because it's so beat down, right? But I've been wanting to buy new. I'm warming up more and more into it. This is Tanner's influence.
Don't say that.
It's 100% Tanner is making me buy new from his YouTube videos as financial advice. So
they're a good company. I mean, I'm no matter what the price is, I'm buying some. If it's very, very elevated, then I'll just dollar cost average over some time. But
my due diligence is my own. You guys can do with what you want with that information, but that is a stellar company. And you know what I'm telling you? I've been saying this for months now. The next one you guys are going to realize is Shift4. Okay.
I know that is, but
that company is so freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there's new positions that I'm building out, and I'm excited about. Like Celsius is one that I'm just like adding little bits and pieces here and there.
Why?
What?
Why?
The product is good, and then expansion, like the thesis.
Cyanide filled product, Tevis.
Man, like look at the tobacco industry. Like stop with this whole. There's products that are bad for you. Look at McDonald's. I also own that too. So it goes hand in hand.
Can you imagine having to buy Celsius? Is like you walk up to the convenience store guy and you're like, have to point. You're like, I'll take that one. I'll take the Celsius orange
thing
behind
the counter.
He gets the key. Can I see your ID?
that could happen in Canada. I could see that. United States, maybe New York, but
they're listening right now. Roy, don't give me
They're looking for ideas.
Hey, Justin,
how do we make this a shittier place to live in? Oh, that's a great idea, actually.
Honestly, I feel like they have like a focus group in the back of like, how do we make this place shittier?
The weather isn't bad enough. Let's
One of the stocks that I own just hit 52-week highs today. Do you guys have any guesses on what
Pinterest?
Pinterest.
Cool.
Pinterest is a sleeper pick, man. I think Pinterest. I've been adding to it over the past year. I post whenever I buy stuff on X, and I'm really happy I've been adding to it. Added over the summer, and that's like up. It's like double basically, like year over year. The lows were in May, I think, of last year, around $20. Now it's around 44, 43. So we'll see. Really happy with that one. But
did we do a stock take on that?
We did.
So that was a good one then.
I can't remember where it was on the stock tank. It might have been like high 20s.
Cool.
So yeah, it did well since then. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not closed off, I guess, to new positions.
So wait, why did it run up back in April?
They've been doing a lot with regards to advertising, and that's just like their whole new direction is advertising and e-commerce. Basically, they have the most like willingness to purchase. I forget what the actual term is right now. And right now, the trick is like just getting people to convert. The intent is really high. It's higher than any other social media platform. It's because people go to Pinterest to like find products, essentially. Like you go there if you're like renovating your house or you're redoing your living room or whatever it may be.
Almost entirely institutionally held.
That's not bad.
No, it's not necessarily bad, but I think it. I find that sometimes with like male-dominated stocks or like male-dominated products, if you look at like female-centric stocks, that it's a lot of institutions that get it, and retail's like, I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Well, my thesis for Pinterest has always been that somebody is going to scoop them up, and my pick has always been Google. And so I'm like, get your shit together, Google. Come on, just buy them already. And because it like integrates so well in from a product perspective into their suite. But we'll see, right? I don't know how that thesis holds up now that everybody's moving towards AI. It's definitely not top of mind. But I just think that it's very complementary. And I'm surprised actually that they're still around, that people haven't scooped them up in a consolidation in that space.
You know what? I know a company with a really good advertising platform that would benefit from integrating with pins.
PayPal?
Don't say it. No.
Yeah, Alex.
Wouldn't that
Chris,
be great?
Uh,
Wouldn't that be so much fun?
no.
Fuck, man. Honestly, I believe if we didn't try to acquire pins, the stock would be $300 today.
So for real, like if some companies do not do acquisitions well, and PayPal with prior management was one of those. If like Robinhood was PayPal, let's say same business, but the Robinhood ability to actually integrate that product was there when they were interested in Pinterest a long time ago, like it wouldn't have been the worst thing. It wouldn't have been, I don't think, amazing, but that was basically what Dan Schulman's vision was for the most part, was, hey, let's acquire a bunch of companies and kind of ignore them and kind of compete against ourselves with them and see what works. And it's like, are you literally insane? So yeah. But no, Pinterest, like it could be a good acquisition for some other companies. I listened to you when you pitched it to us briefly, and I was like, Pinterest, what are you talking about? And you made some good points. So I'm glad that one is printing for you. So
we should do in the after hour show, we should do a stock tank style show, because I'd like a good pitch on Pinterest again. And I'd like to go through, and I know it'd be a little bit boring for people to do a little valuation on Pinterest, but I'd love to do that with you guys. That would be fun.
I won't buy it though.
I feel like a lot of the stock tank picks that we had, they all like did very well. Well, most of them.
I don't even remember most of them.
Oh yeah,
I remember Rocket Labs was one of them.
Rocket Labs, Adyen, Unity, Pinterest.
Palantir.
We had Palantir.
Nubank.
We had Nubank. Did we have
no,
Robinhood?
I don't think we got anyone to do Robinhood.
I remember Steve presented like Philip Morris or something.
Yeah, I don't think we were very happy with that one.
Yeah, but there was a couple of good. I would love for you to do a shift for stock tank. Oh, you know what we had? We had
nothing would make me happier.
I think Jonah doing Celsius was our highest viewed stock tank.
It's the one I keep calling back to. I'm like, that was the one I had by far the most fun. I understood the thesis instantly. I have like a checklist of things that describe a disruptive, innovating stock, and it hit just like every single one of them. And I was like, oh my God.
It was like, it's doubled since that stock tank, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, many things have doubled since that stock tank. Adyen, for one, I think knew quite well. I think Pinterest might have doubled by this point since that stock tank. But yeah, Celsius is a really good episode. But yeah, do shift 4. Let's schedule it for next week or something, and I'd love to hear the case.
Yeah, no. We need to get someone in here to do a GameStop one, though. Honestly, do you think? Can you call Keith? Can we get somebody?
Keith, yeah, come on down. I mean, I wonder if
did Amit do Hood?
He did Palantir. I don't know if he did Hood or not.
I didn't see it, and I think that was before I was willing to go on video at that point.
I remember the one I was super bearish on was Rocket Labs, and I don't think I was a super fan of.
Matt did that one, right?
Yeah, Matt Money did that one.
Oh,
and
Chris Patel did Verizon. That's done well, actually. Verizon has done really well.
He asked to come back on really recently and wanted to do Carnival Cruise Lines, and then we never ended up scheduling it.
Let's do that. I'd love to hear the case. We had Hims. We did Hims. Hims has blown up since then. M-Phase, I think Vitali did M-Phase. Dude, I'm telling you, Stock Tank was like a sleeper show. It was like a great show.
It was way more fun for us than I think there was not a lot of views. I think that's honestly why we stopped it, is like it just general interest was not high, essentially, because people were only coming just to see their stock get pitched. You know, they were like, oh my God, my stock is up, I'll watch that, rather than like, oh, let me learn about this new company. So it was definitely fun for me, but not as much on the. Yeah, it would be so cool to do it again. We should.
Let's just do it. Let's schedule them for next week. We'll do shift 4, and then we'll have Chris on to do Carnival Cruise Lines. Like, I don't like the whole.
Okay, I'll do. Well, that's the problem. Is I don't have I wanted to do so many, but we wanted a new guest every time. Okay, I'll do Dell.
Also a lot of work because like you're putting together a full presentation on things. It's like, dude, I have a full-time job. I have multiple full-time jobs. I don't have time for this shit. It's also funny that this podcast.
There was no presentation on Celsius.
If anybody wants, but like he knew all the things so well.
Everything.
Just as a segue, or an aside, if anybody wants to know what the after hours experience is, it's basically this, because this show is like the anything but SoFi Weekly.
It is.
Yeah.
But
I usually talk more though, but
yeah, I mean, I would love more stock tanks, Tanner. Let's talk about that offline. We also got to do our show. Tanner and I did you see the illustration that Tanner made, Roy?
TNT does pee. Did you see that?
No, busy week. Sorry, guys.
No, 2 T's in a pod.
Yeah. Hearing it out loud from someone else other than myself, I realize how stupid it is.
You get so much shit on Twitter for that.
Yeah, I was expecting like, oh my God, awesome. This is so much fun. Everyone was like, nah, no, this sounds like a porno. Like it was nothing but negative.
Oh, I told you it was going to be negative. You're like, no, it's a great name.
It's a great name if you're in the 1950s, maybe.
Where did it go?
Dude, wait until you see this illustration. It's hilarious.
I don't know where it went. Sometimes I find X to be like, I don't want to say pile of shit, but it just doesn't work sometimes.
Yep.
Like I don't post a lot of tweets. So where is it? I've posted like I've already gone down a month. Where is this?
You've gone down too far.
Yeah. Can you find it, or else I'm just going to start leaking DMs? Here, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm going through DMs. Come on now. Come on now. Tevis on the left, me on the right. We're looking great.
Oh man.
I'm on the right because Tevis doesn't have a beard. That's what he said. So
is this a gardening show? Because
what do you mean? So what I wanted to add, that was just some Dolly 3 trash, but
wait, AI made that?
Yeah.
I thought you actually had like a dude on Fiverr make that.
I paid someone. No, that's AI. But we should add some level of a microphone in there rather than just actual peas. Like, because it's a pod for podcasts, not like we're some gardeners. We'll get it down.
Looks like you're playing in a ball pit. Oh man.
Jason says 1v1 Tanner, me and you in the ring with gloves on. He's not even on my channel. This is from your channel.
All right, we're gonna change the name. We're gonna bring back Stock Tank. This has been a great logistical episode for us to figure our shit out.
What else was in the news this week, ladies and gentlemen?
S&P 500 inclusion. So it was that time where they go ahead and remove some names that no longer meet the criteria, and they add a couple. So did you guys catch what they added?
Was it CrowdStrike and GoDaddy and KKR?
Yep. And I actually, egg on my face, I was like, GoDaddy, it's a, they're kind of flat as far as revenue. I don't know much about them. I know what they do, but I wasn't too excited by that. I thought that I could name 12 companies that would be interesting to include, more interesting. And 6 of the 12 were already included. 2 of them were not quite eligible yet. And then I had 4 names. So it was like, wow, I really fell short. But I found something interesting that you might like, Tanner. Do you know what company, and I hopefully you didn't see this post, what company that you own is eligible to be included in the S&P 500?
What company that I own is eligible to be entered into the S&P 500?
NVIDIA.
Already there.
Nubank?
Is Robinhood in there?
Robinhood.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They with
Well,
the
they don't have
amount
they don't have the. No, they're not.
they are.
They don't have the earnings.
They do. They meet all the criteria. The criteria as far as earnings is EPS profitability as an aggregate over the last 4 quarters. They do not have to be EPS profitable over every single quarter.
They have
And
the market cap now too, I guess.
Pardon?
They have the market cap now too, because isn't it
They
like
do.
15 billion?
They have the market cap and the S&P 500. This is not an official criteria, but they do look for tend to be industry leaders or market leaders. And Robinhood also fits that unofficial criteria. So I think Palantir and the trade desk and maybe Zscaler, it needs another quarter or two, might be there before Robinhood. But I really think, and no one's talking about this, Robinhood will probably be in the S&P 500 within a year.
So the requirements are, so the market cap changes all the time. Last time I checked, it was 14.5 billion.
We're at 19, I think now.
Okay. The value of its market cap has to be traded annually. At least 250,000 of its shares traded in each of the previous 6 months. Most of its shares are in public hands. Had its IPO at least 1 year earlier, and had a positive sum of the previous 4 quarters of earnings, as well as the most recent quarter.
Yep. I had no idea, but I was going through and I'm like, wait a minute, what about Robinhood? And looked and I'm like, oh yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Wes asks, Hood or Palantir makes it first? I think Palantir absolutely. Generally, it's fairly rare for a company like the first quarter that they're eligible to make it in the S&P 500. I know it's happened before. I just don't know how often. And usually they like to maybe, there's no official waiting time, and it depends on what they need and how interesting a company is. Tesla, I think, was quarter 2 or maybe quarter 3. Pardon?
Yeah, 3, I think.
And Airbnb, was profitable for a few quarters. I think Palantir actually probably makes it in quarter 3, if not quarter 4, barring something really weird hitting. And Robinhood likely maybe quarter 4 at earliest. Quarter 1 is a good potential target. I don't trade those by intention, but yeah, it was just kind of interesting just to see, like, oh yeah, Robinhood freaking killed the last quarter, sold off. And I'm like, this makes no sense. And of course, now we know where Robinhood is.
Yeah, I mean, Palantir is going to make it first. It's like 50 billion market cap versus 20 billion market cap.
Yeah, and that does matter, even though they make, technically they both make the same criteria. The market cap size, they seem to disproportionately target that between like 35 and 55 billion market cap at the time. So the trade desk is up there too. So, but yeah, a couple of quarters down the road after that, Robinhood.
Hood will be added to SEC investigation list, not S&P list.
Oleg doesn't like anything I'm saying today. That's all right.
No, he doesn't like anything. Sometimes I see those people in chat that like come for a specific reason, and anything else is like, this is trash. Go back to talking about this. I have this very famous dude in my chat who will come and he says, every fintech is shit. Everything's trash. Talk about Pagaya. I'm like, when were you here whenever I was talking about Pagaya? I don't like... I think he watches for SoFi news and he's like, maybe he's going to mention the referred loans. And then he just gets off on it. I don't know. But I have one other piece of news that I thought was interesting today. Yesterday. Jarrett Isaacman. Get to know that name. He's the CEO of Shift4.
Yeah, I know. He's active on Twitter. I follow him.
Yeah. Actually, very active. Like if you reach out and ask a question about Shift4 or you bash it publicly, he'll be like, well, that's not quite the truth. And then give a paragraph for why he thinks his company's sick.
Well, before you go on that tangent on Shift4, is there an amount of Twitter activity that you're like, hey, maybe they should back off a little bit for CEOs?
No.
Okay.
No, because of Elon.
Yeah. I think for me there is a limit, but every once in a while, like it's nice, and I usually like more is better, but I don't know, like if you're on there every single day, I'm like, come on, like you got something else to do more important, surely. But it is more important than many CIOs realize. So yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think you're right. Sometimes whenever I see Noto post now, I'm like, do something else.
He doesn't
Like,
have it. Like he doesn't have that kind of personality. It doesn't mean he's a bad CEO. I think he's a great CEO. But it's like when Alex Chris is reading off a script, he sucks at that. Like he really does. No offense to him. But he's great, talking and communicating with an audience or an individual. And so it's like, go with your strengths. If your strength is not being on Twitter, don't be on Twitter.
The people in the chat are funny. So I was just going to say, Jared Isaacman, although being a multi-billionaire, a high majority of his wealth is simply from Shift4. Okay. That doesn't stop the man from continuously adding to his very large position in that company since May 14th. So just like about 3 weeks, he's purchased $10.3 million of the stock. 10.3 million. That's like almost like that's catching up to almost every dollar that Noto has bought in over the many years. Different size player, but also the amount of money that Jared Isaacman is worth is also still tied up for Shift4. So it's not like he's selling Shift4 to buy Shift4, right? I was talking with Ahan Vashi, and he thinks that it's actually levered positions, which I think is interesting. And I just wonder. Anyway, is there any other piece of news that you guys wanted to cover, whether it was meme stocks or something like this?
AIP Con, we had the long Palantir discussion. I don't want to get too much
into the Palantir shit, man.
No, I want you guys to watch this 2-minute little clip. Because when we're going to AIP Con, the unique thing about Palantir, one of those unique things where you can tell how differentiated this company is the way their own customers talk about it. So at AIP Con, they had 70 customers presenting. It's not because they get anything from it; they just come. Carp actually confirmed that. I was like 90% sure, but they show up because they're excited about what Palantir does and they want to network with others that are using the product. And then there was over 250, I think, customers that were there doing the networking thing. Of course, our friend Amit was there too. So anyway, you might see him in
that was cool. That was very cool.
But pop this up if you don't mind. Listen. Okay, so this is the CEO of Tampa General Health. They've been a partner for, I think, a year and a half. They had, I think, a 4-year contract, maybe it was 3 years. They extended it by 7 years and $50 million. And listen to the way he talks about Palantir.
We're bringing him back. John Curtis, CEO of Tampa General Hospital. Tell us a little bit more about why you've chosen to lean into your partnership with Palantir.
Well, a couple of reasons why we wanted to we were leaning in, and we've extended our relationship with you another 7 years. One, your people are outstanding.
We agree.
You're smart, you're well educated, you're thoughtful, you do a great job at listening, and you move really quickly. We're a tough customer. There's no question about it. So this is like not a paid advertisement by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. We can be a very difficult customer. One of the things that we struggle with in our industry is we move a little too slow. You act as an accelerant to the work that we're doing. So that's one big reason. Your technology platform is outstanding. And you've already heard lots about that in different industries, and that applies in our industry for sure. You're changing the DNA of our institution. I mean, that's the way folks have to think about it, at least in the healthcare space. You're literally changing the way we think, the way we perform, the way we ask questions and deliver care. So when you kind of put all of that together and you think about the quality of the people, the quality
Amit truly has gamer posture,
the culture and the organization that you've created under Alex's leadership and so many others, to us, it was a no-brainer. And we're culturally aligned, which is very important to us. And speed is incredibly important because in our world, you have to be really good at what you do, but you also have to be really fast at doing what you do,
Absolutely.
and you allow that to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's there's a lot more, of course, but that's good enough. It just you occasionally hear clients, that are not paid anything do this for other companies. It's not the only time, but when there's 70 freaking customers that basically are doing the same thing, like I don't talk about my wife with that much praise. It's a whole nother level.
They're selective about the customers they let on that stage, man. 70 customers in the context of a $50 billion company is not like, I mean, it's great because they got them in a short period of time, but it's not like anything mind blowing. Like, I work for a startup. We have over 700 customers, and it's like we're a Series A.
Do you think you would have 150 customers show up out of the blue and do that for your
We do run webinars, and we have not 150, but we have like 2-3 dozen.
Yeah, this is, I mean, they have like 500 clients, and some of them don't want people to know that they're using Palantir, but this is not normal. So I'll just leave it like that.
They're definitely not normal. I'm not saying they are. I just think, is the premium kind of showing that people are already expecting abnormal results from this company? And
some of that, yeah. Anyway, we discussed that last time. We don't need to rehash it, but it was one of those things where I said, hey, take a look at this, listen to what others are saying that they have nothing to gain from doing this.
Was this their first ever event of this, like this type?
Fourth.
AIP has not been out for 4 years.
I know. They do it not quite every quarter, but usually every quarter. So
they do an AIP con every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like the excitement is just like it's next level, dude. I'm telling you. I don't know. I can't wait to talk to Ahmed about Nala. Come on. Yes, I am married. Not married to Palantir, but like I don't know. When that is one of the things that I do pay attention to, though, is Palantir is a little bit different than the other companies that we are with, because I think everything else that we talked about tonight is a B2C, and they might have B2B applications. When it's a business to business application, unless you use it for your work or something, you don't have access to the product. So one of those things that you can lean on is, okay, those businesses that are actually using the product, what do they think about that company? What do they think about the product? How sticky is it? And when a guy is like looking at and thinking of Palantir like this, like if somebody's looking at my daughter that way, I'd be like, excuse me, that is not right. It's too much.
Yeah. Also, don't call my hood stock a B2C company. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but they acquired Bitstamp. We have institutional clientele. So don't.
Yours and mine. And also, actually, Tevis, you don't have any Robinhood, do you? You need to buy some Robinhood, dude. Buy like 100 shares. Instead of you're doing your GameStop. Why did you buy GameStop and not Robinhood? Come on, man.
He's a straight gambler now. He's just.
All right. So I'll tell you this, Roy. When GameStop crosses, I don't know, maybe $50 a share, and I start unloading that position, I'll probably buy some, I don't know, whatever you want, either Robinhood or Nubank or maybe Palantir. I don't know. I probably won't buy Palantir.
Yeah, this is how it goes. So you have Tevis, okay? He's the classic gambler type. This is the face of a gambler, okay? Then you have Roy. He's the classic dreamer. He believes Palantir is going to be the only software left in life. And then you have an investor. It's great to be the narrator. You get to make the the winner writes the history books, or the person that's talking too much to the mic. Yeah. It is funny though, hearing us on more of a podcast where it's more freeformed, just hearing about like what people want to talk about. It's just
pull up that comment. He'll buy whatever you financially advise him to buy, Tanner.
Well, yeah. Sell your GameStop. Unless it goes up to $100, then you'd be like, see, I was right the whole time. Tanner, you invest in Robinhood. That's a gamble. Dude, the company makes more and more money every quarter, has more customers. Their profit margins are improving. That's called investing.
Dream.
Keep
Look
buying
out
your.
there.
GameStop has that too. Just saying.
No, they don't. They just reported losses or fucking negative surprises on their earnings, and then did a massive equity offering. They're just stealing your money. They're just taking money from you.
So that was a
Ryan
fun thing.
Cohen.
That was a fun thing from last
Yeah,
night.
but there's celebrities in this stock.
I posted about Robinhood, after hours, and people, somebody about GameStop was, just like, oh, it's going to zero, and just that Robinhood was going to zero, and it was going to go bankrupt, and that the reason why, I know what it was, Vlad sold some shares, which he does every single month, I think, because stock-based compensation, that's one of those things.
Probably stealing less than the Fed.
Well,
yeah, that's a reason to buy GameStop.
Robinhood is like, the simple thesis is it's owning the casino. When you freaking own a casino, you make money, especially when people are gambling. And there he is, the gambler right over there. There he is. He is paying Tanner and I, and we appreciate that as casino owners stopping by.
Exactly. You can either be the casino or you can go to the casino. Or you can be like me and stay at home and keep making content about SoFi. Whenever they don't put out any, like, just give us something. Tell us what you've been working on.
I make they're seriously fucking up my content schedule right now, because I make a weekly video on Fridays and I make a recap of this episode on Sunday. And the only reason I do that is so that I have like a consistent rhythm of content to put out. I haven't made the weekly Friday video in 2 weeks because there's no freaking news, and none of this stuff is usable for like a SoFi weekly highlight reel. We're just shooting the shit here. So I'm basically not even making YouTube content anymore. So thanks, SoFi. Screwing me in more ways than one.
You should see the way, and I do really like this, like Robinhood, if they don't get a lot of news in a little bit, then they'll just start breaking down like, oh, this is how we coded this thing. This is how we're preventing fraud. This, like, why don't you take a look at how we're using graph intelligence to make sure people are not getting scammed or we're not getting scammed by some identity fraud or something like this. It's just interesting to see how different companies handle IR essentially.
Yeah, and I actually love that, and I think that's one of the things that Roaring Kitty can take a lot of credit for, is retail participation and retail interest in the stock market. And he was one of many, certainly, but like one of those prominent leaders back during COVID. And we see companies respond to that. So Shift4 CEO, is pretty active. Elon was going to be no matter what, to be honest. Palantir has started interacting a lot better with retail over the last like 3 or 4 quarters. You have Alex Chris, new CEO of PayPal, doing the same. And honestly, like Robinhood just kills it with the way that they interact with that. Of course, they conscripted Amit, and good call on that. He's a good fit for that. Already an investor in Bullish, so it's neat. I love this. I love this time and era where we have better access and better tools than any other time in history, and it just kind of equalizes the playing field a good bit. So. And Matt Money, come on down.
Yeah. I just really quick. This is what it looks like, Noto. Just say, a couple cool little things. Tell us how you're working. Give the people who care about your company some interest. Come on a YouTube channel. Fucking guys.
At least
been beating me up.
At least we have the Chris LaPointe conference next week. So that's what I'm calling it.
Sure.
Give us something.
Nothing's going to happen, man. They're just going to reiterate like their main mission statement again, and maybe their 2026 guidance if we're lucky. It's not like they're going to drop some huge, like, I mean,
they could, like, they can. That's the thing. You can.
But they haven't, and they have a pattern of not doing that. And the fact that
they say something like, we are weeks, we are months, we are whatever timeline away from being fully integrated onto Technisys.
But they're not gonna, man. They're conservative to the max. I hope they do too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, if we're consistently expecting them to do something that they've historically never done, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment.
I don't know. I think that they do listen I hear from a lot of employees at SoFi that they do listen to the SoFi Weekly, and I don't know. Who knows? Last time we talked, we said, "Hey, why are you on no fireside chats?" And then they booked a fireside chat in the next 3 days.
Dude, we've told them we every single episode we tell them to come on the SoFi Weekly podcast. I don't see them being here.
Yeah, but that doesn't. They don't want to communicate with us. That doesn't mean they don't listen. I just think it's more of a. I think they're almost looking at us like liabilities. Like, this could be dangerous.
With you guys, I don't see it. I mean, but yeah.
Well, we got a freaking degenerate gambler on our thing that just wants to put hundreds of dollars into GameStop. I think it's risk for them.
That's not fair.
No,
I mean,
I'm just humor. It's funny.
Dream of Stuff says, Tevis, they will announce a product because of your shitty video. If that was the case, I'd make a shitty video every week about them.
Please, yes.
I do worry that companies get to a point where news obviously slows right down. But I would have thought that of Robinhood a while ago. Like Cash App, I found has gotten really quiet. So people think that I'm going ghost on Cash App. I still hold the company, still like the company. But I find like there's this weird thing where they're going, like Jack just recently came on a fireside chat and he said, hey, like we're trying to really target families now rather than just individual people looking for P2P platforms. But you're not rolling that out as some like headline. Why didn't you put out a new press release and say, hey, you know what? We just came out with these products and everything like this. Nubank does that so well. Robinhood does that so well.
Although they did get a sponsorship with the WNBA. So it's like, how well are they? No, just there's a cost to everything.
I can't believe everyone got so offended about that. You don't know what they paid for. I saw someone say SoFi has the NBA and Robinhood has the WNBA. Yeah, but like they're just paying impressions. So even if they paid $500 for it, we don't know. Like,
dude, Robinhood is better off paying a Mitt for like to go onto his stream than paying the W. Like he probably gets more views.
Yeah, but they're not exclusive to one partnership. Maybe they're going to do both.
I'm just saying,
honestly,
like,
though,
if
Vlad is listening, do that. If Vlad is listening, do that. Pay Amit money, disclose it or whatever. That's just a genius idea, honestly. Like,
fuck Amit, pay me. I'll do it.
Me too. Gold credit card. Just give us a gold credit card.
I'm right here.
Oh man.
Sorry, go ahead.
Give us a gold credit card, and we'll be happy.
It wasn't even the Caitlin Clark team that they like sponsored. It was like another rant. It's like, dude, nobody watches this team. I don't understand.
They have more than one team?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So
no one knows how much they paid for it. It doesn't no sponsorship is good or bad if you don't know how many impressions they're getting or how much money they're paying for it.
Well, dude. I mean, if Vladimir Putin sponsored, then maybe don't do that. But
it would get more impressions.
That's true. Saying. So maybe I'm wrong.
You'll know how much of a degen gambler I am because I put money on the WNBA just because there was like no other games and I was like I want to put something down, and so I watched the game, and I'll never watch another game in my life or put money down because it was so freaking horrible. They miss every single shot. It's insane.
With that, we're gonna wrap it up. This has been a great episode of the SoFi Weekly. That's a great name for a podcast where you didn't even cover the Simcock news.
They hired a lawyer. Who cares?
Yeah.
SoFi hired a lawyer. You heard it here first at the SoFi Weekly podcast.
Wait, was there actual other news? Let me just check for a second.
Regardless of if there's news or not, or if we're buying the stock or not, we're going to be back next week. We'll let you know when we're buying. I mean, we'll let you know when we're selling, but I don't think that's anytime soon.
I I did
And,
sell 2 covered calls, so if that counts as selling, put me down.
Also, let us know for the stock tank
the
which-
Simcock podcast.
what you guys want us to talk about. Are we doing an after hours this time around? or no?
Yes, I've been holding my tongue on some news I want to tell you guys.
All right.
All right.
I already know what it is.
No, you don't. No. You got no
No.
clue.
Okay.
I'm investing in something that is not the stock market. That's what it has to do with.
Oh my fucking god, Pokemon cards.
No. I'll tell you guys. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate your time. Make sure you hit subscribe. If you want to join, hit that join button down below. You can become supporters of Tevis and I's channel. It does cost money. Don't be cheap. Buy it, and then you guys can see us tomorrow.
But mainly me, because Tanner has like 200 subscribers already.
Don't do that. He makes a lot of money on his job. Bye.